You feel the weight of the silence before you even open your eyes. The house is breathing around you, deep and rhythmic. But you are not. Your ears are already searching, pulling a single thread of sound out of the dark. And still, you're awake. Heart slightly elevated, eyes open in the dark. Some part of you scanning, always scanning. Even now, you lie there. And for a second, you wish you could just turn it off. The listening, the scanning, the never-ending alert. And then the guilt hits. Because what kind of mother wants silence? More than she wants to listen. And then the thought arrives. Quiet and cruel. Why can't I just rest? You've been told it's anxiety. That you need to learn to let go. That you're too stressed. But what if the story you've been told is completely wrong? What if the reason you can't sleep through the silence has nothing to do with anxiety, and everything to do with the most sophisticated piece of biology your brain has ever produced? What you feel has a name, a real one. It's called selective auditory attention. And in mothers, it operates at a level that has no equivalent in any other human group ever studied. Not anxiety, not hypervigilance disorder, not being a worrier. It is a specific, measurable, neurological adaptation, a system your brain built for your child, for the exact frequency of their breath, for the particular pitch of their cry in the night. Repeat this quietly, just for yourself. This is not anxiety. It never was. This is architecture, built on purpose, not by accident. The word that science uses for what happened to your brain is matrescence, a term first coined by anthropologist Dana Raphael in 1973, and only recently validated by modern neuroimaging. Matrescence is to motherhood what adolescence is to puberty. A complete biological restructuring, a rebuilding of the self, at the cellular level. And just like no one tells a teenager, stop being so emotional, just relax, because we understand their brain is literally under construction. No one should tell a mother, stop listening so hard, because your brain is not broken. Your brain finished building something. Something that was designed, from the first breath your child took, to hear them, even when the whole world is silent. In 2017, neuroscientist Elceline Hoxima and her team at the Universitat Autònoma de Barcelona published a study in Nature Neuroscience. It changed what we thought we knew about the maternal brain. They scanned the brains of women before and after pregnancy, and what they found was permanent. The gray matter in areas responsible for social cognition, threat detection, and emotional vigilance had been physically restructured, not temporarily, not it'll go back to normal, permanently remodeled, for years after birth. This isn't your anxiety leaving marks. This is evolution, leaving instructions. Think about it this way. Your brain didn't just grow a baby for 9 months. It rebuilt its own operating system to protect that baby. It reordered its priorities. It literally shrank some regions and expanded others, based on one single directive: keep them safe, at any cost. The regions that grew, the ones responsible for reading faces, detecting danger, interpreting social cues, noticing when something is slightly off, even in total silence. The regions that were refined, the auditory cortex, the amygdala, the threat detection network that never, ever, fully rests. This is why you wake up, not because something is wrong with you, but because something went exactly, precisely, scientifically right. Your brain upgraded itself. And the cost of that upgrade is that you are never fully offline, not even when the room is quiet, not even when everyone else is asleep. Here's something they don't teach in prenatal classes. While you sleep, your amygdala doesn't. It enters what researchers describe as a partial listening mode, a state where your threat detection system remains active even as the rest of your brain rests. Neuroscientists call a related phenomenon unihemispheric sleep, where one hemisphere of the brain stays alert while the other recovers. It's documented in dolphins, in migratory birds, in almost every mammal that cares for vulnerable young, in environments where danger doesn't announce itself, and in mothers. You are not an anomaly. You are part of an ancient lineage of creatures who learned that the price of keeping something small alive is never fully letting your guard down. Research from the University of London showed that mothers respond to their own infant's cry in an average of 3 to 4 seconds, while fathers average 7 to 10, and non-parents take 12 or more. But here's the detail that gets buried. It's not that you hear more loudly, it's that your auditory cortex has developed something closer to a biometric filter. The ability to recognize the specific acoustic signature of your child's voice. The way a fingerprint scanner recognizes one print among millions. You don't just hear your baby. You have been neurologically tuned to them, like a radio antenna calibrated to one frequency, and that frequency never stops broadcasting. And yet, the world looks at this. At you. Awake at 3 a.m. for no visible reason. Tense in the quiet. Listening for a sound that hasn't come. And calls it a problem. You're too anxious. You need to learn to let go. The baby is fine. You're the one who needs help. This is the noise. The voice of a culture that never read a single paper on maternal neuroplasticity, that doesn't understand the polyvagal hierarchy, the way your nervous system moves through states of safety, threat, and shutdown, based on cues you can't consciously override. Stephen Porges spent decades documenting this. The body doesn't ask for permission before it goes into guard mode. It responds, it protects, it listens, and then someone, a partner, a mother-in-law, a well-meaning friend, looks at that primal, ancient, scientifically validated response and calls it weakness. You don't need to defend this. You don't need to explain this. You don't owe anyone a justification for a nervous system that is working exactly the way it was designed to work. The noise outside doesn't know your biology. But now, you do. There's a specific kind of guilt that mothers carry, the kind you don't say out loud. The thought you swallow immediately. I just want one night where nothing needs me. Not even my own child. The guilt of not resting well enough, not switching off, not trusting that the baby is okay without your constant monitoring. It shows up as shame, as the quiet belief that something is wrong with you, that other moms have figured out a way to sleep through the night, and you just haven't. I want to tell you something directly. That guilt is not yours. It was never yours. It was handed to you by a culture that measures a mother's health by how well she performs recovery, how quickly she bounces back, how easily she disconnects, how smoothly she returns to normal. But normal was a life before your brain was rebuilt. There was no returning to that architecture. And there shouldn't be. What you carry at 3 a.m. is not a flaw to fix. It's the weight of a system that chose your child over your comfort. Every single night, without being asked. Your nervous system has been doing this quietly, without credit, without recognition, without anyone handing you a cup of coffee and saying, I see what you're carrying. So let me say it now. I see it. That exhaustion is real. That hypervigilance is real. That cold cup of coffee on the counter, the one you never got to finish because you went back to check on the baby. That is real, and none of it is your fault. And if no one has told you this yet, this is where you belong. Not out there. Here. This is the village, the place where no one asks you to turn it off. And now, here is what the science says. Not the Instagram version, the actual, peer-reviewed, published in journals version. Your hippocampus, the part of your brain that processes memory and spatial navigation, does something extraordinary after you become a mother. It doesn't just store memories of your child, it maps them. It builds an internal model of who they are, their breath pattern, their specific cry, the way their body sounds when they move in their sleep. A model so precise that your brain can detect a deviation from that pattern, a slightly different quality to the silence, before you are consciously aware of anything at all. That's why you wake up before the cry. Not because you're anxious, because your hippocampus has been running a background process. Silent, constant, invisible, comparing the real-time audio of your environment against the internal signature of your child. The moment something doesn't match, you're awake. Think about what that means. Your brain built a biometric system to protect one specific human being on this planet. It runs 24 hours a day. It costs you sleep. It costs you rest. It costs you the ability to fully let go, ever. And it does all of this without asking for anything in return. Jill Bolt Taylor, neuroscientist at Harvard, spent years studying how the brain processes emotion and response. She discovered that the chemical signature of any emotion lasts just 90 seconds in the bloodstream. After that, it's the thoughts we feed it that keep it alive. Which means this: the vigilance isn't permanent in the way exhaustion feels permanent. Your nervous system can learn to rest inside safety. But first, it needs to feel seen. And that starts with the truth. You are not too much. You were just never meant to carry this alone. You are not broken. You are a brain that loved someone so completely. It rewired itself around them. Science calls that maternal neuroplasticity. I call it extraordinary. The next time you wake up at 3 a.m. and the room is still, and everyone is safe, and there's no reason for the alarm, except the ancient, loyal, exhausting system inside you, doing exactly what it was built to do. I want you to try something. Put one hand on your chest. Feel your heartbeat. Let your shoulders drop. Just a little. Unclench your jaw. Slowly. Breathe in. Hold it. And let it go. And then say, quietly, just for you. Nothing is wrong right now. Nothing is missing. This is not anxiety. This is architecture. And I am not too much. Now that you understand the architecture of your mother brain, which part of your life is this affecting the most right now? Is it the distance growing between you and your partner? Is it the phantom cries in the shower? Or is it the anger you feel when the house gets too loud? Let's treat the symptom that hurts the most tonight. The noise outside will still be there tomorrow. They will still expect the perfect mom. But the perfect mom doesn't exist. Only you do. And science already proved you are exactly who your baby needs. Drop your shoulders, take a deep breath, and I'll see you in our next pause.